this is going to be interesting, I guess. We all are developers, we like what we do, we get paid for what we do, right? And sometimes this React ecosystem, right, it just confuses me. Is it all a made-up thing that version 18 had 2-time rendering and version 19 has 1-time rendering, but the HTML had only 1-time rendering, right? Is it a made-up story like we want to keep this ecosystem running so that we can get paid? No? Maybe, right? Maybe. And it is interesting because it is benefiting us and it is keeping the industry running. Very interesting, right? So I'm Rana Jain and I have been working on SEO for almost 10 years. I've worked on 150 plus projects, enterprise, small, you go ahead, I can talk about anything. I have worked on projects where there was zero traffic, so from taking a domain to setting up a server to designing the website, writing content, driving 7.5 million traffic from 0 to 7.5. I have done everything. Apart from this, I have worked with a couple of decent clients. I'm not sure if you'll be able to recognize that. But before we jump ahead, is Google free? It's not, right? And we are technical people and what we say, that if something is for free, you are the product. Exactly. If something is for free, you are the product. And if this is not for free, then the next question is, how does Google make money? Data. Selling data. Right. But they don't tell you, you know what? Every time they say privacy centric. Yes. But you know what? You need to agree with the terms and conditions to go to the next step of Android. Right? And I'm not sure if you know, but Android was open source. It is open source today, but the Play Store is not. But can you live without Play Store? Whoever tried it, they created Harmony OS out of the open source ecosystem where it is. How many of you are using Harmony? No one. So the thing is, theoretically, technically, it is open source, but when it comes to the whole ecosystem ownership, that is Google who is having that, right? And apart from that, you can say that Google, Samsung Galaxy has it because you don't like it. You go to the Play Store and you use it, right? So what I want to talk about is I want to talk about that why is it important for you to understand something like this. Again, I'm Rana Jain and I am a growth consultant and more of full-time on Wix Commerce and StableX. StableX is a consulting company that I founded in 2018 and Wix Commerce is a SaaS company. This is where I work full-time. We have developers, we work together. I do growth consulting on a decent project, like a project that is decent, can worth my time and basically to build portfolio. So that's where it comes in. I know Martin from Google who has created the whole series on JavaScript for SEO. I have met him in 2019 in Hyderabad Google's office. And I have been very closely connected to the Google Webmaster ecosystem and SEO ecosystem. So having the Google office here. A lot of times. This is basically the history. This is where I got started. Tech blog in 2016. It was tech10minute.com. I wrote how to get a GeoSim. Created a locker that if you want this APK, you need to share with us either on Twitter or on Facebook. And the app was not available on Play Store. So they shared it. We got almost 8,000 plus visitors per day. I made my $963 with Google Ads in my third year of my third tier engineering college. That's what it started and that is where it went. I worked in ShootOrder, which is the top SEO company in Hyderabad. I worked there as a research and developer. Also, they didn't have a lot of budget for research and developers, so I hired 22 interns to do a lot of, in raw words, do things on web to rank website, in raw words to manipulate Google search rankings so that our clients can rank higher. Yeah, that's what it is, right? Google says that don't do it, but Google also says to you that, hey, you know what? If you want one click, pay $5 to us. And it's like, no, bro, we have no money, right? So what we do is, we do SEO, the process is called SEO, and we do that stuff, right? And then Starbucks, I was going with the company, I gave them 3 decent researchers, they acknowledged 1, they didn't acknowledge 2, and eventually, suddenly someone was also doing the research. I submitted first in the company I was working, and it was like, it was not being interesting to me, and it became like 2018, first January 2018, I was like, what would be the New Year resolution? I was like, okay, let's be independent and try to work it out. So in 7 months, we created the site. We means me literally, because there was no one, but on the side you could see that there were team members, because of course you can't afford the salary and you need to bring other people on board, right? So in 7 months, I got a call from the company shooter, hey buddy, congratulations on starting your company. And I was like, oh, which company? And I was like, buddy, you are ranking on 2nd position of Google for the keyword we rank for digital marketing agency in Hyderabad, and you think that you can hide it? I was like, oh, that one. Okay, sure. And it was like, they were like, there was some talk back and forth and so on and so forth. So it went like that. Then came stabilizing Thomas and then consulting. Sometimes there's not a specific number how much time I spent on this, but yeah, I do consulting. I did consulting for Apollo. I did consulting for a couple of more companies. I guess, yeah, I'm sure that you may recognize some of these companies. So Amazon, BMW, Macrotech. There is a catering company as well because they give good biryani. Literally. So for this talk, especially the ideal audience, so basically web developers, tech, team leads, tech product managers, CTO and CMOs. CTOs because they often restrict decisions and suggestions made by the CMO, and CMOs because many times they think and they are fed by the developers that ReactJS is fast, Next.js is fast. However, they lack around a couple of core things which actually impacts their website in terms of SEO. This is not AI, this is not crazy stuff, it is just very simple stuff, simple code that should be inserted on the web page, simple things to understand, right? Okay, let's go next. You have looked at it already. I have a question. Now I gave you enough context about Google and the traffic, right? Google makes 85% of its revenue from Google Ads. 15% everything that's in here, right? So in the industry, because you are a developer, you are developers, you might not be aware that Google traffic is expensive. Google traffic is expensive. So can someone give me an answer why Google traffic is expensive?
They are providing more infrastructure.
Infrastructure? More answers, please. Market share, yes. Okay. More? Any more? From the back side? Competition. Amazing.
SEO.
SEO is what you do to manipulate the ranking of Google, so sure, I get it. So, the reason why you have given good answers, very good answers. I'll give you one analogy here. The reason why Google traffic is expensive, because when you open Instagram, you open it for entertainment. You browse it, you browse it, you browse it, you get an ad. That's not something you are expecting. But when you go on Google, you actually have an intention that this is what I'm searching for. You are going and searching for MacBook Pro, M1, 32 GB, 1 TB, something like that, right? It's an intention that you want to know about the product. But on Instagram, that intention was not clear. Your intention was very, very broad. You want to be entertained, you want to be updated with your friends and family, and that's what you did there, right? And that's the reason why Google traffic is very, very expensive. How expensive? Well, it can be 5 times to 300 times. Yes. Sometimes the CPC, which is cost per click, can go up to $250, right? 20,000 for a single click. Yes, it's true. It is especially true in the attorney industry, where someone has met with an accident looking for an attorney, and the attorney is waiting for that client to connect to him and file a lawsuit for $3 million, $5 million, analyze the case, right? So it does work for them that they can spend $250 for a single click. Right. Here is a small comparison I have made for you. You can have a look. So, yeah. If you see, Google Ads is on the highest side, SEO is because SEO is something that really depends on how much competition you have. For example, if you want to rank for a local business, then it is easier to rank. But if you want to rank for a keyword like insurance providers for IT people, right? Or best insurance providers in Bangalore. If you're searching for something like that, then that will be very, very expensive because it is in the very competitive domain, right? Okay, then we have social media ads and direct traffic. You can simply calculate that, the social media ads is costing 1 to 5. However, if you see the Google ads, it is 5 to 25, almost 5 times to 300% higher. So the number really depends. Direct traffic, you bring direct traffic likely through events or some kind of campaigns or whatever. It really depends, right? So what we are going to talk about is this part. This part, because this is a massive tool through which you'll be able to drive a lot of good quality traffic for very less cost. You may ask a question, isn't SEO free? Well, SEO is free, but the people who will be working on it, the developers, the content writers, the graphic designers, that's not free. So that's why there's a relative cost to that. So let's go down. Okay, before I go to the next slide, do you have any questions so far? None? Alright, let's proceed next. Are you able to understand everything? Yeah? Alright. This is what the metrics look like, right? You know all these companies, most likely Amazon and Flipkart for sure. HubSpot is a CRM company. If you see the paid traffic and free traffic, what you will find out that the organic traffic, which is also called free traffic, is way higher compared to the paid traffic, right? And it doesn't happen in a single day. There is a lot of processes involved, and these are not necessarily technical processes. These are content creation processes. These are understanding what people are looking for, what people are searching for. These are processes that divides that these are my direct customers, these are my indirect customers, these are my information level customers, right? For example, let's talk about the iPhone. So, if someone is searching for iPhone 16 price, then if the company is Apple, it is their direct customers. But if someone is searching for best smartphone, that is on level 2 best, level 2 customer who is looking, but not necessarily looking for Apple product. And then someone is looking for technology devices for personal uses. In that, you will see that that is on the level 3, right? So all of them are adding value, but in a priority P1, P2, and P3. Okay. So I hope that you understood this. Now let's go next. My content, right? So my content is going to be why SEO, key challenges, what does it take to make this happen, tools and checklists. If you are looking for more resources, I have some links at the end of it, which will have a QR code through which you'll be able to download it. Okay, so these are some of the tools that can help you in understanding what kind of traffic is being driven on a website. SEMrush is a SEO and social media tool through which you'll be able to use it. I think I have messed up my slide a little bit. Just let me have a look here. Yeah, we'll go back to the resources first. So, checklist. This is the checklist. How many of you develop web applications where the web page is actually open to the public? Can you raise your hand? E-commerce, blogs, websites, general service pages are open, right? Very beautiful. Do we have any CTO or CMO in the house? Okay, sure. So, I guess that all of us are web developers, right? Can web developers raise their hands? Nice. Then that will make sense, right? So, all of this is being discussed for a website that is public facing, right? You can implement this in your dashboard and internal applications as well, but not that useful, right? Not that useful. So, this is especially for the public facing applications, and you might have seen this already. You have meta title, you have meta description, you have H1, you have URL structure. URL structure is an interesting point. I will a little bit stress on this. URLs like resources, abc.com/resources, and then ID equal to 1237, right? That ID equal to 1237 as a query parameter actually creates issue for SEO. So if you are implementing SEO in your web application, always use static URLs. Let's say that it is Apple's website and you want to present Apple iPhone, then in that case, the URL will be apple.com/ if you have geolocation IN and then /iPhone-16, everything in small characters, right? I was working with I'm still working with them. Builders Update, a real estate company in the US, they built everything on .NET, and it was very, very complex for them to do changes on their existing code because that code is working for 15 years, and they did not have very experienced developers or SEO people working on that. And what eventually happened, that they defined and they built a blog, and the blog was visible as a blog, but when you go around and see the technicalities behind it, it was actually not indexing on Google properly. They were not able to drive properly, and then they were crying about how can we drive traffic? How can I do marketing in small amount? We were like, you have to change your tech stack. And they were like, we don't want to change our tech stack, everything is working fine. Yes sir, everything is working fine when you see visually, but when you go behind it and when you see from technical point of view, this is where issue comes. So when you are building website, you have to keep 2 point of views. One, you are fulfilling the user requirement, and second, you are also fulfilling crawlers which are come and crawl your website. There is also a third thing which is now coming because of AI, that if you want to get your brand into LLM answers, then you also have to optimize for the AI. Right? So I wrote a paper on AI optimization, that hey, how can you get in the brand name by writing more content. So what happens? The problem is that when you had long HTML pages, everything was being scraped, it was being parsed, it was made sense. But when you have a sparse single page application, those crawlers and low quality crawlers are coming to your page. They are not spending so much resources in processing your JavaScript, because JavaScript processing requires CPU and GPU, and then they are prioritizing actually the sites that have containing HTML, static HTML, right? So if you are prioritizing your brand, you should consider that you should have the priority 1, which is you are fulfilling the user, priority 2, you are fulfilling the crawler, priority 3, which is basically fulfilling your AI crawlers as well, right? So yeah, we talked about URL structure, then image optimization. A lot of people now are very much fascinated by AI, and they use transformer images or AI images, right? Because they look good. Let me tell you that that doesn't work with SEO. If you are not planning for SEO, doesn't matter, use AI images. But if you are planning for SEO, use real images that are taken from your phone. You don't necessarily need a DSLR. If you have one DSLR, good. But if you don't have a DSLR, no problem. Just take your phone, take that photo, let it look a little bad, it doesn't matter. If you want to do a little bit of editing, do it. But your real image will add almost 4 times more value than your AI image. And it's very, very important. Next thing is, what about content? Can't we ask AI to write content? Well, again here, be very, very careful. Try to avoid AI. You are not the first person to think that you can write website content with AI. We have been doing this for 10 years. There was a phase of AI content generation. Before ChatGPT came in the picture, you had AI tools, you had spinners, you have so many other tools that were doing that stuff. Google looks at them, analyzes them, and you have to keep Google happy to keep your website on higher ranking. And if you don't do that, Google will not send you police. Google will not get you arrested. It will just ignore your site. And because you are running your business, you will face the problem, right? The best way to find out what's the issue on your website will be Google Search Console, which is basically a search console by Google. It's free, you can verify your website, you can see this, and over a period of time, you'll start to see what your website is getting impression from. right? Am I clear so far?
Yes.
Yeah? Alright, cool. So, we talked about the first part, then we have schema markup, right? What is schema? Can someone tell me? Structure, right? So, when I say schema, what does comes in your mind? Is it the SQL schema or is it the MongoDB schema? Or some other schema? Just trying to understand. What comes in mind? MySQL? You are still guy, I'm like MongoDB guy, so MongoDB, Mongoose comes in mind, right? Sure. So I understand that. Sure. So this schema is actually a little bit different from that backend schema. This is basically a piece of JSON code which is pasted on the web page. And this tells very little about the web page. It doesn't have a lot of information. It helps the crawlers in understanding your web page. So the way crawlers work is, let's say you have 100 pages on your website. Google crawler will come. The very first thing it will try to understand is, do you have that micro data? So it will take that micro data and it will try to classify. It doesn't process the whole page. And then it classifies and then it processes the whole page and tries to understand what it is. And then it adds in the queue. And then a mathematical calculation is done, which is done 2 to 3 times per day, and that's why you see ranking fluctuations for every search which you make many times, right? So that is how, the processing is done. Now there are 250 plus factors behind SEO, but I have shortlisted all of these. But if you're interested, I can share your Google Sheet as well for that, right? So what we discussed about is schema. We understood that it is a piece of JSON code that has to be pasted on the web page, and there are multiple types of it. It can be a product schema, it can be offer schema, it can be rating schema, right? Now, to make sense of rating schema, have you searched something on Google, something like laptop or something like mobile device, and you end up seeing extra information below the search, something like 4.7 rating, 600 customers, right? 16 GB RAM, and so on and so forth, right? It comes because of aggregate rating and product schema. So if you want your pages to have this, you should put this. And before you go and increase your expectation, let me tell you that these are not just 2 factors. Once you put it, Google will not immediately start to show. There are other factors like authority, the relevance that comes in the picture. So if you add on a high quality authority website, the chances of this being visible will be very, very high. But if you add on a low authority site, then the chances that will be that it may get ignored. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yeah. So you do your hard work, expect the best, and then wait for Google Baba to do its stuff, right? Yeah. So let's go next. Then we have technical SEO. Mobile friendly websites. Isn't it very basic to have a mobile friendly website? Yes, it is, but many cases you don't want users to visit on mobile. You just want them to visit on the desktop. For example, an editor like Canva may not make sense in your browser. You want them to experience on desktop or an app. So you have to see that where it is coming from, and the best place to look at is look at your Google Analytics or look at the Search Console, and then try to understand that where the user is coming from. It will give you a very clear picture who is coming from where, desktop, mobile, or tablet. You will have that classification there. Then you have fast speed page. This is very basic, so I'll ignore it. Canonical tags a little bit goes in advance, and we have worked on this. For example, let's say that if you're searching for iPhone 16 from India, a different page will rank, but if you're searching for iPhone 16 in the US, then a different page will rank. How does that work? This canonical girl comes in the picture, and this solves the problem. It tells, with a simple tag, that there is a different geolocation version of this web page that is for the US, right? And then you go through that. It also tells you the language is different for this web page. So on a single web page, you can have 10, 50, 100 canonical tags just to mention that this is for the US and this is for the US Spanish, this is for the US English, and so on and so forth. Make sense? Right. Breadcrumbs. Breadcrumbs are simple. These are also, this also comes in schema. schema, you can make it happen, it works out. Breadcrumbs can show that you know that these are small links on the top of your web page, below menu for easy navigation. Now, are we good so far? Am I boring you? Okay, cool. I have code snippets coming forward, so you can get excited. So, yeah. Content and UX, right? Unique product descriptions. Hey, I'm selling, let's say I'm selling this mic. This mic description is already available on the vendor's page. Do I really need to create new content for this? Yes, you do. Because if you don't, then your vendors will be given more authority for having original content, and then you'll have problem. So you need to have this. Internal linking. Internal linking is also an important part of it. Internal linking in general is a very small topic. Internal linking, when you go little deep, you will find out that it is a massive, interesting topic. For example, have you seen Flipkart having a lot of links at the bottom? A lot of links, right?
Yes.
It doesn't make sense. Like, why do they have it? Why do you like to go and search for something like that? It is because of SEO. On their homepage, there is a lot of authority. They want to distribute it through other pages, and that is why they put it there. And they put it so small text that it will be harder for you to read, but they do it because of SEO. So you have the answer in case you always wondered why the hell they have created URLs like this. Okay. Internal linking, then you have modern JS stack, React Angular, Vue, Next, and Nuxt, and Svelte, and another 2,34,000 another JS frameworks, right? From the future. So we already discussed about it. A lot of people implement JS stack with query parameters, or will have the static URL. Rather than having event-based linking, have a href-based linking. What does that mean? Well, what you do is you developers, and we developers generally change the page content based on a click, right? The click is really not a problem, but it has to be implemented through ahrefs, not just events, right? It becomes a problem for crawling because many times you leave zombie pages, and those pages do not index, and it creates problem in the future because all of your products are not indexed on Google, right? So that's another thing. Mobile-friendly responsive design, yes. Use SSR, server-side rendering. Can you give a hand raise on how many of you are using server-side rendering? Very few people, right? So the story behind server rendering is very, very simple. When you don't have server-side rendering, it costs a lot to process the JavaScript in a browser. And the way these crawlers work is not every one of them have that GPU and CPU. So when you do static-side rendering, it generates the HTML, and then passing it becomes easier. So I highly suggest that you prefer this over your general React application. That becomes a problem. Okay. Once you have it, you'll have better search indexing, faster page load speed, supports non-JavaScript crawlers, enhanced accessibility, and better for social media sharing. Right? When you share a post on Facebook, you see an image coming up, right? It happens when you have static-side rendering, and it creates issues when you don't have static-side rendering. So if you have it, it will be not really a problem. Okay, this is what you have to likely waiting for. This is organization schema. Now this organization schema should be mentioned on every page of your website. So what you do, you create a component and you put it everywhere, and once the SSR happens, then it will be part of every page. Okay, let's go next. Then we have service schema. This is basically for a service company, and when you are offering any kind of service, you should create a schema like this and see here what kind of area you are serving. So make sure that if you have multiple countries or multiple locations, you should actually mention this separated by comma, or mention it as right. Okay. This is aggregate rating. This is why you see ratings on the Google search page. So that's basically something we have discussed already. Let's go next. We have product schema, and this snippet is from Apple's own website. This is literally from Apple's iPhone 16. I have reformatted it. That's another thing, but this is from Apple's iPhone 16 website. Okay, this is thing. Then I have created a sheet in which you can actually get this whole content written by your content team. I'm sure that as a developer, we all hate content writing and writing long reads. Are we together? Yeah? So you give this work to content writer. Do not go there and write your content, because then you will have to do a lot of extra work and you will not be focused on your technical work. It is often avoided. I have done it. I have burnt out myself. I suggest you do the same. Okay. If you want to access this sheet, I will have a QR code outline. You'll be able to download the presentation and go through that. Yeah, these are packages for different types of frameworks. These you can use to implement SEO on your JS stack applications. All right. Then we have other tools which I talked about earlier: Google Search Console, Google Analytics, Ahrefs, and Screaming Frog. These two are paid. This one you can download the freemium version and use. This tells you a lot about your technical issues on the web page, but this alone will not solve all the problems for your web page. It is highly suggested to have an experienced SEO person on your project, because this tells you the issue. And if you have not even implemented that, then where the issue will come from? It won't, right? So these are the tools which you can use. And this is one of the projects I have worked on. From, in this case, it is 0 to 1.12 million. I mean 1 to 1.12 million. Yeah. And the metric is here. The top part you see is from Search Console. The bottom part which you see is from Google Analytics. Okay. How to proceed? Can you be the fighter of the company and go and shoot a mail and get everything done? No way. You have to go with a lot of bureaucracy to get this done. You will have to present it, and it works like, what is company's goal? You will have to talk to a relevant person. If you present this to a manager who doesn't care about you, or who is a taxi manager, they will simply ignore it. And they will be like, this is extra work, why are you doing this, right? So you have to talk to the right person to get this implemented. If you have to talk to senior manager or marketing manager, send a mail, and that way you will have the credit that, hey, you implemented it, it was not done earlier, you are doing it. Then third thing is budget. You go to the random content writers and other people at the cost. Excuse me, we are finishing in 5 minutes. Please give your attention here. I'm sorry for being rude. Yeah. Okay, so we got people, we got partnership, which is basically you can do with some content company. Then you define a KPI. When you are implementing this, what is the growth that is happening? Are you increasing the impression? Are you increasing the clicks? And let me give you a tip. Don't give them a 15-day answer. Give them 4 to 6 months, because it takes that much time after implementation to get indexed properly on Google and then see any kind of impressions or result, right? So we got KPI, and then we got improvement. When you are doing improvement on your meta title and description, so say keyword on Google, see what those 10 people are doing, try to be better than them. Analyze what you will click on if you are searching that keyword. That way, you will be able to do A/B testing and you will be able to go forward. Okay, we are at the end of presentation. That's the way you can connect me. And this is for the presentation you'll be able to download, and that's me on LinkedIn.
Now I have a couple of questions if you're done.
Absolutely, sure.
So let's say if a customer is already in place and they have not implemented SEO, now how much, then you might have to introduce all the tags, right, to build the SEO for them.
Right.
So the side of the application already in production. So how easy or how difficult is it for you to enable SEO for that?
Great question. The best answer I can give you is it depends. Yeah. Let's say we are talking about a 10 days website, right? What we'll do is we'll close the repo in staging, and we'll no index the page so that none of those pages get indexed on Google. We'll start to improve it. and we will push it. And it's 10 page, let's say 45 to 60 days doing everything, and we push it, we observe for next 3-4 months what is happening. There's a tech stack in the picture, WordPress, any kind of tech stack, right? Okay, sure, it can go incrementally. You have 100, you have 10 pages, we can do 2 pages today, 4 pages tomorrow, and so on and so forth, we can take it forward. It's a very complex company, it's not a small company, it's an enterprise company that requires 7 levels of approval for every meta description that is written. Well, in that case, I don't know the thing. It can be 2.5 years. Yeah, it takes that much time. I was working with an enterprise client, and their mail reply day was literally 24 days. After I sent a mail today, I get a reply after 24 days. I was like, come on, like seriously, the small changes, we can do that stuff. So it really depends. If it's a massive site, we can build a massive team for that, content is technique, then we can do the changes. So it really depends. And we should do this like, understanding the project status. If there is a CMS behind, then we can work around the CMS, we can do the changes, no problem at all. If it's a massive team, like, again, it depends, right? So that's the slide.
Yeah, minimum 6 months is there.
Yeah, that's my number as well, and the email. Yeah, also my email. So yeah. So if you want to connect me, discuss anything, feel free to. There are a lot of free resources I publish on my blog, and yeah, that's pretty much me. And if you want to know more about me, just search my name on Google, because if I'm talking, yeah, right? Like, just search my name casually on Google, you get everything, because as an SEO, if I don't rank for my keyword, what's the point of agency?
So you have ranked first on Google, right?
Yes, I ranked not just first, I ranked first, second, third, fourth.
That's the smartest thing.
Yeah, and like, there was a